Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to this Devoid Wrestling podcast.
Yes. Now, you might be saying, wait a second. They're not going to do another WCW pay-per-view, are they? We sure are.
We always.
Wait, but they've got to be doing a good one, right? You must be asking yourself.
And I ask you the question, what is a good WCW pay-per-view?
That's a good point. Wild Hog 96, something that we will never watch. Because we enjoy bad wrestling more than good wrestling, and that says more about us than it does about you.
Keep in mind, despite how much I hate WWE still, I watch it every single week.
Hit the intro, editor.
Devoid Wrestling Podcast. Devoid Wrestling Podcast. Devoid Wrestling Podcast. Cast it up, Micah and Derrick. Well, get ready for something you will have never wanted to know. You sadly saw it coming, but I guess you should know. Devoid Wrestling Podcast. Oh my god, it's still the Big Show theme song. Should we do a new one?
You should change it. You should definitely change it to Paul White's current.
Devoid. That's it. That's the.
I'm gonna now make that. I'm gonna clip that section when I edit this, and it's just gonna be real bad.
Wonderful. That's the intro now. So welcome.
We can't do 7 intros in one video. So Starrcade 1997, a show some people bought. Actually, this is the most bought WCW pay-per-view ever.
Yeah, this was like sort of the big culmination of this was like the
pun intended. This is the big show.
This is like the season finale of WCW season 1.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't you say so?
The Nitro era. I would say the Nitro era of WCW.
Yeah. This is the season finale of season 1 of WCW Nitro, basically.
Yeah. It took place. I took notes. It took place December 28th, 1997, at the MCI Center in Washington, D.C., which is now the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. They did some rebranding.
As in someone just bought them.
This was in front of 17,500 people and was bought by 700,000 buyers. The tagline was, "Hogan's a colorful guy, but his nightmare's black and white. Paybacks are hell."
Man.
And of course, what would this be without saying what WWF was doing at the time? WWF's December pay-per-view was D-Generation X in Your House, which was headlined by Ken Shamrock versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF Championship, which ended in a DQ. So it can't get worse than that, right?
As much things change, things tend to stay the same.
Yes. All right. We open the show with Tony Schiavone, Dusty Rhodes, and Big Dick Mike Tenay. And this venue looks big. Like, it looks like it can hold way more than 17,500 people.
Yeah, it looks like a legit, like they could probably hold like a WrestleMania in this arena.
Yes. It looks like they could, like they did. Like an early WrestleMania before they were all like 60,000 plus.
Right. Or like those middle WrestleManias in the Attitude Era where they were all still in like just buildings.
Yes. Yes. And notably, WCW wrestlers who weren't booked were just at ringside, to which Tony Schiavone said that they paid for their own ticket. As if you're not booked, you're not allowed to be there.
That's like, can you imagine showing up to visit your coworkers like when you're not working to say hi and your boss like screams at you and threatens to fire you?
It's more like security just kind of says like, no.
Right. Hey, can I come in? No, you're not working. I just wanted to say hi. Too bad.
Yeah. Should we get into the first match?
Yeah, so I love how WCW has always done this thing where they know most of what they do is bad. So they start each show with the best wrestling they have in the cruiserweight division to distract you from what's really going on. And nothing is different with Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko.
No. I'll quote Tony Schiavone says very early on, this is going to be a turning point, fans. And how eerie that is, huh?
Oh, yeah. This was like, gosh. What I appreciated about this match, at least, is that even however they're booked on WCW, where they're always on the like front of the card and aren't actually treated as important, like to the cruiserweights, the Cruiserweight Championship is like the most important thing in the world. And I think that really helps elevate matches like this that are already with two great wrestlers to an even higher level.
Yes, indeed. During this match, though, they didn't really talk about this match. They focused on two things. That Kevin Nash isn't here, which you're just like, this has to be, like, obviously Kevin Nash is here. Spoiler alert, Kevin Nash isn't here. Like, this isn't some sort of bit. They're just trying to say that Kevin Nash isn't here.
Like,
and that, yeah, it's stupid.
It's just why, like, it's almost the opposite of like the Survivor Series 2021, where they advertised the whole thing around The Rock, but then The Rock wasn't there. They're just advertising that Kevin Nash isn't there, and they're right.
Like, you think that Kevin Nash is going to play a factor in like one of the NWO matches.
No. His absence doesn't even really play a factor, besides the fact that they mention it.
But, like, they mention it, like, too much.
Yeah.
The other thing they mention a lot is they put over how important the main event of Sting versus Hogan is.
It was literally, like, this is the biggest wrestling match of all time. They were basically calling it. And, like, at the time, it probably was the biggest wrestling match that could happen. Besides, like, any time Rock and Austin were in the ring.
Hey, Derrick. Tony Schiavone said in the middle of this match that he'd been a part of every Starrcade but one. Can you name the year?
Can I name the year he wasn't a part? I don't know. I'm going to guess like 88.
No. 1992, which was Jim Ross's last WCW event.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
And now they both work together, so it's kind of neat.
Now, how neat is that? They came together in the end.
Yes. Do you want to talk about this match, or should we go right to the finish?
Let's go to the finish. It was a very great match.
Yeah. There a frog splash to the knee of Dean Malenko for an Eddie Guerrero win. I gave this 2.5 out of 4.
Oh, that's right. You're doing out of 4. I'm going to keep to what James and I were doing, and out of a Dave Meltzer 5 stars, I'm going to give this a 3.75.
Cool.
I think it was a very great match.
And I noticed something. Is the Eddie Guerrero theme a dubbed theme from the WWE Network, or is it purposefully racist by WCW?
Or honestly, or is it both? Is it dubbed over and purposefully racist by WWE.
Because remember when we watched New Blood Rising and the Ernest the Cat Miller theme was just a really bad dub? I got that vibe. But like this was done just a little more because maybe like more people are gonna watch this than New Blood Rising.
Yeah, I think you can tell when this stuff happens because it's kind of hard to hear what the commentators are saying because they don't do a great job of sound mixing these moments.
No. The next thing that happens is that Scott Hall comes out with a phony tag team belt. And the NWO is quite over, is what I said. What an exquisite point in 1997 saying that the New World Order is over.
It's like saying the Young Bucks are over in like 2016.
Yeah. But Scott Hall took an audience survey. Do you remember this, Derek? Do you remember this part?
I think so. I don't know if I do or not. Can you remind me?
He then said that the winner of Hogan versus Sting, he would face at the next pay-per-view Super Brawl. So that doesn't give away the main event at all. He then starts mocking the Giant, who was supposed to have a match with Kevin Nash, who isn't here. Well, then the Giant comes out. I'll be here for a long time, says the Giant. And he and Kevin Nash are still in pro wrestling today. I'm pretty sure Kevin Nash did a GCW recently.
I think did he wrestle at the GCW? I know he did a GCW.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he did a GCW a little bit ago.
Yeah.
The Giant then lifts Scott Hall over his head, which is really impressive because Scott Hall is like 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, Scott Hall is a large man.
And then he goes for the choke slam. But then he hits a jackknife powerbomb to remind you that Kevin Nash isn't here.
God, it's probably going to be very huge when Kevin Nash is here, huh?
Right? We should watch the next pay-per-view to see if Kevin Nash is here.
I would love for it to be the next pay-per-view and they go, well, after weeks of him being on Nitro, Kevin Nash is not here tonight.
Veer is Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash is coming to Raw.
Yeah. The next match is Scott Norton, Vincent, and Conan versus Ray Traylor and the Steiner brothers, accompanied by Ted DiBiase.
Except it's not Conan.
Whoa. It's not Conan.
It's actually the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Yes.
And I think the first thing I noticed when this match started is, Micah, have you ever watched like early 2004 SmackDown and Bradshaw shows up with short hair right before he's JBL?
Yes.
That is how I feel watching Scott Steiner in this match. You can very clearly tell that he's like about to become Big Papa Pump, but he's just still in the tag team with Rick Steiner. And he's very clearly like got the bulk, the mustache is there and everything. He kind of just needs to dye his hair at this point.
Shave his head a little bit.
Yeah. It's very weird. It's very weird to see Scott Steiner at Starrcade 97 in this state.
Yes. They remind us that at War Games 96, the NWO won and can dictate who is in matches, being the reason that Macho Man is in the match. Mm-hmm. So there is some sort of consistency.
Legally, it's there. Yeah.
They at least tried. I can appreciate that little detail, though.
Yeah. It's nice.
This match, I think, was like 5 or 6 minutes long.
I can tell you that this match was 11 minutes and 6 seconds long.
Wow. The combination of both of the numbers I said.
And it was a match. It happened.
It sure did feel like 11 minutes, so that does make sense. I was going to say, this went like 6 minutes and felt like 12. So
well, it was like 12. So
it does make sense.
So then it was an appropriately paced match.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this match was good. It still wasn't good. Ted DiBiase distracts the ref for tag reasons, because the tag rules matter in World Championship Wrestling, you see.
And what are the tag rules?
The next thing that happened is that Randy Savage hits the diving elbow drop to win.
Sick.
During commotion, because NWO shenanigans. Really, honestly, like, I didn't get what Bullet Club is just a ripoff of NWO. I get it. This really just did feel like a Ring of Honor Bullet Club match.
This is like one of the 6-man tags on the pre-card of Wrestle Kingdom with
not even Wrestle Kingdom, like the Road to Hurricane Hall,
where the team is like Chase Owens, fucking
Hikuleo,
and like Tama Tonga.
Yeah. This shirt just is a collection of guys.
No, this would be like if a Bullet Club match was like the Gorillas of Destiny and Kenny Omega.
Fair enough. I gave this a 1.5 out of 4.
And I gave this a Dave Meltzer 2.5 out of 5.
Percentage-wise, we're probably very close on most of these.
Yeah.
The next thing that happens is that J.J. Dillon announces Nick Patrick will ref the main event. And this is notable because Nick Patrick is a former NWO ref who's been to some sort of he's been converted back into just a regular ref, I guess. But that was like a big thing during the first 2 matches. That they all the referees' names were put into like a hat or something, and they were just gonna pick one.
If you don't want the ref to be Nick Patrick, just don't put his name into the hat.
Yeah. I guess J.J. Dillon is an authority figure, even though Eric Bischoff is the authority figure.
Yeah, wait, didn't we just establish that the NWO can make the matches?
Yeah. I don't understand what. Tell us in the comments below if you remember why J.J. Dillon has any sort of power when the NWO clearly is wreaking havoc.
Please, I need to know.
The next match is former football player Goldberg versus former football player Steve Mongoose Mcmichael.
Man, when I think of 2 of the best wrestlers in the world, I think of Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko.
Yeah. So one question I had during this match, is it a no DQ match? Because they certainly didn't tell me that, and they certainly didn't do anything about the table bump that just kind of happened.
When people say sometimes AEW has the good parts of WCW vibes, they also have that part.
Yeah. There were very loud ECW chants when the table bump happened, though.
That's true. What was happening in ECW at this time?
Why don't you look it up while I say that Goldberg wins with the jackhammer, and this was Goldberg's longest match to date by 3 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
This is a 6 minute bad match.
And he's definitely gotten better,
Yeah, he's definitely like Dustin Rhodes, where with age, he has grace.
Yeah. At this time, ECW had their pay-per-view better than ever, in which the main event was Rob Van Dam and Sabu defeating Taz and Tommy Dreamer.
Ooh, interesting.
That just seems like good wrestling.
Yeah. I gave this a 1 out of 4.
I gave this a Dave Meltzer 1 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, let's go. For all the times Derek and I aren't on the same page, we sure are on the same page here today.
Some people get better with age, right? And Bill Goldberg doesn't fall in that category. This is one of his better matches.
That is not fair.
Is it?
Versus Hogan in the Georgia Dome, it was legit good.
Right. Well, that was a good match. Yeah, this is also one of the better ones.
I like the Dolph Ziggler match at SummerSlam.
That is his own. I think that and honestly his WrestleMania match with Lesnar have been his only two good ones since his return. I really liked his WrestleMania match with Lesnar.
I did too. I just can't. There wasn't another one?
Not that I could think of, unless you count the Survivor Series match as a good match, but that was more of an angle than anything.
I would say that was more interesting. I wouldn't say it was good.
I would say it was a WrestleMania moment at Survivor Series.
The next match is Perry Saturn versus Chris Benoit in a Ravens Rules match.
Right, because Perry Saturn was in the Flock at the time.
Yes. And Raven's just being Raven like the whole time too.
Yeah.
Like, sitting in the corner and just kind of like, you know when you're drunk and you just kind of talk?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Raven's character is.
And the whole storyline right now with this match, if I'm remembering correctly, is that Chris Benoit just wants to wrestle Raven.
Yes, and Raven
keeps sending in his goons, basically.
It's almost like CM Punk versus MJF, but it's Raven and Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
But it's good. Benoit fights off the Flock for like the majority of this match.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good match. It's Perry Saturn and Chris Benoit. They're both good wrestlers at the time, you know?
Yeah, and Raven has a sick DDT, huh?
Oh, he sure. Raven is, I think, one of the most underrated like wrestlers of that time.
Not in WCW, he wasn't. In ECW, surely, but not in WCW. It's kind of like when Sandman became... Oh, it starts with an H.
Hack. Hardcore Hack.
Yes, when Sandman became Hack, it's like he is like a good wrestler, just not here.
Right.
I think he was underutilized in... Because like his gimmick just kind of transferred to WCW, but sort of through transferring just got like 10% worse.
Yeah. And then they changed his character like in the middle of his WCW run to be like, oh yeah, he's also like rich and actually just comes from a rich family.
But he wears ripped up denim for fun.
Because he's angsty.
Because he's moody.
Raven in WCW is just Dean Ambrose.
I would say Malachi Black. Aleister Black.
Yeah, that's it.
I gave this a... Perry Saturn then wins with the Rings of Saturn. And I gave this a 2 out of 4.
I gave this the Dave Meltzer 3 out of 5 stars.
The next match, Buff Bagwell versus Lex Luger. We got into the work rate era. Before the match, Buff Bagwell calls for Vincent, the head of security of the NWO. Because that's what the show needed. 2 things with Vincent.
It's like, why was he such an integral part to non-main storyline NWO shit?
I don't know. I just said this match was boring. And then there was NWO interference. But the interfering members were Scott Norton and Randy Savage, who had already been on the card. There was 1,000 people in the NWO at this time, and they just used the same 3 people 2 times.
They've showed like 20 wrestlers who don't have a match on this card.
Yeah. Like they're showing Rey Mysterio and shit.
And they have place to put Vincent on there twice, and apparently the new mega powers of Scott Norton and Randy Savage.
I gave this a dud out of 4, 0 out of 4. This match wasted my time. I have a finite time on Earth, and my time was wasted watching this.
I gave this a Dave Meltzer dud out of 5 stars.
Let's go, Derek.
This match sucked.
This match was not good.
Neither Buff Bagwell or Lex Luger are great
The next match is DDP versus Kurt Hennig for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship.
Now, this match was a good match.
It was. The whole story is that Curt Hennig is cheating, but he's not getting caught because he's very smart.
He's very perfect at it, if you would say.
I would say.
And also the story, like, this is DDP's sort of coming out deal too, because this is his first United States Heavyweight Championship, if I'm correct.
I think so.
So this was sort of DDP's big moment as well. And I think that really lent to the sort of season finale feel of Starrcade 97 was this like feel good moment of, spoiler alert, DDP defeating Curt Hennig.
It's a really good match. It's like certifiably a good match.
It would hold up today. Like the match and the storyline would hold up today.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I just thought that it was like good wrestling, and they're both over for different reasons.
Right.
Like everyone's just like Curt Hennig is good, and then it's just like, and DDP is kind of cool.
DDP is like them almost. DDP's the guy that's everybody's guy, you know? He started wrestling.
DDP is the cool substitute teacher.
Yeah, he started wrestling at 35. No one told him he couldn't, and then he was like beating people and like getting his cool career. But then he just loves the fans still, and the fans are like, yeah, DDP, who's Stone Cold Steve Austin? And then, you know.
Yeah, WWE's like biggest like thing with DDP is that they made him heel, and DDP is like one of the most cheered people in WCW Nitro era history.
He's like, that would be like if Hangman went to WWE and they turned him heel.
I could see it.
The person who is just the biggest babyface in the company, maybe besides Sting and Bret Hart.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
DDP wins with a diamond cutter. I gave this a 2.5 out of 4. It was a good match.
I gave this a Dave Meltzer 3.25 out of 4 stars.
Nice. Don't forget to tune into WCW.com, and you can hear Eddie Guerrero talk. I guess that was on the show.
Go WCW.com. They really were ahead of the time on the whole internet thing.
I guess. I mean,
I don't know what the internet. I wasn't alive then. I don't know what the internet was like.
I wasn't alive. That's gonna upset people.
That's gonna upset a lot of our podcasting friends.
Yeah. The next match of the night.
No.
Larry Zabisco versus Eric Bischoff for control of WCW.
Why does this match need to end in DQ?
I don't think it did.
It did.
Let's talk about it.
So,
because special guest referee Bret Hart, fresh out of the WWF.
Yeah, this was. If anyone knows anything about the year 1997, they would know that about a month before this, Shawn Michaels defeated Bret Hart to become the WWF champion at Survivor Series.
Yes.
And this is now Bret is huge baby face because fuck WWE.
Yeah.
And also it's Bret Hart.
Also, Bischoff must have seen the Jean-Claude Van Damme movie Bloodsport before this, because he sure just is just like, I'm going to be in all black. I'm going to be bare. Bischoff is ripped. I'll say it. Like, Bischoff is cut.
Eric Bischoff, it has always been interesting to me how Eric Bischoff has had the same wrestling gear every time he's wrestled, but that wrestling gear is like karate stuff.
Because he's a karate black belt.
Right. Is he legitimate? Like IRL?
I don't know. They certainly said it twice. He's wearing these weird half shoes that like cover the
right,
the top part of his foot and the toes. Like, that's not legal.
Yeah. I mean,
and like, yeah, the whole thing is like Bischoff is like actually like kind of piecing up Larry Zabisco in the early parts of his match, even dropping him with a head kick. It's just like, Why is Bischoff being over? Like, why does Eric Bischoff need to get any offense in?
Why is Eric Bischoff getting offense in, period, just in any match, but especially against Larry Zabisco?
Yeah, Larry Zabisco's like not a big deal, but he certainly is the living legend for a reason.
Yeah, I'd say he's a big deal.
Not at this time, in my opinion.
Well, but still, it's like if today, like not Dolph Ziggler. It's like if today Adam Pearce had a match and was getting offense in on like Randy
AJ Styles.
Orton. Yeah.
It's like when Shane McMahon gets offense in on anybody.
It's like when Shane McMahon won an entire tournament to be best in the world.
He didn't really win that.
He won the match that mattered.
That's true. Bret Hart is like not enforcing chokeholds, I guess.
Yeah, honestly, Bret Hart is probably as good as a ref here as like any other WCW ref.
Bret Hart's refereeing skills are kind of like Bret Hart's promo skills, where I mean, it's there. It's
good in Canada.
Yeah. And Bret Hart's kind of being a heel a little bit here, though. He's like not letting Larry Zabisco beat up like the evil guy.
Which is, what the heck is up with that? Is Bret gonna join the NWO?
Maybe that's the story that they were trying to implant for him for like a little bit.
For like what, 15 minutes?
Yeah. Scott Hall then puts a plate in Eric Bischoff's half shoe thing, and then Bischoff connects with a head kick that just knocks out Larry Zabisco.
Like legitimately, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Hart just beats up Eric Bischoff anyways. And puts him in the sharpshooter.
We needed to get some sort of face cheer, I guess, after Zabisco getting knocked out.
Raises Larry Zabisco's hand. That's why I said it doesn't end in a DQ. He just kind of won.
Right. I said that because legally on the Wikipedia page it says by disqualification.
But there was no bell ring. There was no referee anything. He just won.
It just ended. The segment ended and Bret Hart raised Larry Zabisco's hand.
I gave this a 0.5 out of 4 because I was kind of intrigued by the whole Eric Bischoff wearing karate stuff.
I gave this a
it's called I know. It's a gimmick. Relax.
I gave this a Dave Meltzer dot out of 5 stars.
Very fair. Should we go to the main event? Derek, do you want to say the Mark Henry thing?
It's time for the main event. I think I do it better. AEW should hire me.
AEW did hire me.
Well, they should hire me.
This match surely did happen.
So
when Bret Hart shits on Hulk Hogan about his wrestling ability, I certainly do get it.
Hulk Hogan, and you know what makes me angry, right? Is that if you've watched Hogan in Japan, you know that Hogan can wrestle. It's possible. He's actually pretty good at it.
If he didn't, they would actually beat him up.
Right. But he can actually wrestle. And he just chooses to not to, basically. I have seen one Hulk Hogan match many different times at many different pay-per-views.
That's fair. I guess the Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan match is a different Hulk Hogan match than every other Hulk Hogan match, at least.
It's also my favorite Hulk Hogan match. So what does that tell you?
Is it my favorite Hulk Hogan match? No. WrestleMania 6 is pretty fun.
Which is that
versus Warrior.
I was gonna say, I was like, no, I just did WrestleMania main events. I need to know this. So, do we want to talk any more about the match at all, or do we want to talk about the finish?
Let's talk about the finish.
So, Hogan wins with a leg drop, 1, 2, 3. That's it. No, nothing else happens in the show. It just ends.
It sure did look like a regular 1, 2, 3, didn't it, Devin?
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did.
It sure did.
It sure was. It sure was just a regular count.
Yes. By NWO referee Nick Patrick.
To which this angered Bret Hart, of course.
Yes. Might I just say, the Montreal Screwjob happened 1 month earlier. It's not like this. Like Survivor Series 98 also did this 1 year later, but this was very fresh.
Yeah, it had just happened with that guy.
Yeah, and so like that's the story that they tried to tell, I guess, is that Sting got screwed and also Bret Hart's here.
Right.
So then the match restarts with Bret Hart as the special guest referee in this match too, I guess?
I guess they trust Bret Hart to referee much more than anyone else.
It's true. There was a Stinger splash. There was some NWO interference. And then the Scorpion Deathlock is locked in. And Hulk Hogan surely does not tap or say, like, it's enough. Bret Hart surely just does kind of award Sting the match.
This is like... So, what this was probably supposed to be would have been a great angle and probably would have been a good way to end it. But with how it did turn out, it just sort of turned out like Bret Hart just kind of screwed the NWO for fun. You know? They won a match, fair and square, and then he was like, actually, you should restart the match. And also, I'm going to screw you out of the belt. When okay. So what was supposed to happen in this match is that the referee, Nick Patrick, was supposed to fast count the Hogan finish, Hogan beating Sting. Before the match started, Hogan told the referee that finish was off and to just count a normal 3 count. And so he did. And then they continued with the plan finished. So it ruined it, basically. That's because Hogan still wanted to get that 3 count in on someone. Micah, what do you...
This match was a 1 out of 4 because the finish really ruined the match.
I gave this match a 0.25 out of a Dave Meltzer 5 stars because Sting is a good wrestler.
That's fair.
And that's it. The finish sucked. It's like I was watching a modern WWE pay-per-view with how little sense it made. And there is the biggest event in wrestling history, folks.
Yeah. I gave the show overall a 1.5 out of 4.
I gave this show a Dave Meltzer 1.75 out of 5 stars. But what did you give this show? Let us know in the comment section down below of this video.
Yes. And tweet at us at Devoid Podcast. Hey, that was a pretty neat little opinion you guys had. But here's my opinion.
Or you could subscribe to us on YouTube where we post all of our podcasts and stuff.
You can also follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and many other audio streaming platforms where we also host all of our videos, but in audio form.
Yeah, and also, have a great day.
And also, I've been me. But also, you have been you. And we'll see you the next time that we do one of these, and it will be just as disappointing.
Bye. I love you.